that you were the Gillette man.
Yes.
What? Okay, explain that story to us. Explain that to us.
Gillette was looking to engage in conversations with trans men to find out what relationship trans men had to shaving and what role shaving played in the lives of trans men. I happened to be one of the trans men that they spoke to. They spoke to a number of trans men. There's actually a few of us who have done different commercials and different spots with Gillette. So I just happened to be one of them. I think the spot that I did with Gillette happened to resonate so strongly with so many people. Was a big part of it, I think, was because of the presence of my father in the ad, right? A lot of people messaged me afterwards and asked me, "Oh, was that actually your real dad?" And I said, "Yes, yes, it is." And I think,
Great.
I think a big thing too for me, especially because I'm Black, I'm conscious of the ways that I see Blackness on screen, right?
Okay.
Growing up, what positive representation I had of Blackness came in different things on screen, whether it was Cosby Show, A Different World, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, things like that. Those are the ways that I saw myself on screen, whether you're watching Fame or whatever,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, 227, this is what we see and we relate to it, right?
We love
But
those shows. We
love
love
those
those
shows.
shows. Oh.
Exactly. So I think for a lot of us, we look to see something of us that we can relate to on screen, right? It's easy to relate to a person's story because a lot of stories are universal stories, right? Stories
Okay.
of friendships are universal, stories of love are universal, but how they specifically show up in the lives of different cultures is very different, right? How marriage shows up in, say, for instance, a Southeast Asian community is going to be slightly different to how it shows up in perhaps an African community or a European community, right? It'll look slightly different. We understand the concept of love, we understand the concept of marriage, but what does it look like in different communities is a bit different. So I think this ad showed people a different side of things. People weren't accustomed at that time when this ad came out, seeing a lot of trans men on screen. There were a lot of Black trans men that they didn't see on screen. And I think a lot of people, for a long time, when they heard trans, their only concept of trans was trans women. There was very few about trans men, right?
Okay.
So people know Laverne Cox. They know Janet Mock. They know, they know all of these people. But how many trans men can they name? Outside of Chaz Bono, how many can they name? You know what I mean? They don't know that many, right? That is the face that most people have of it. So seeing someone that looked like them was like, wow, this is major. This is somebody that looks like me. Okay, I'm not completely alone. There is a community of people that are like me. I have a possibility of actually having a great relationship with my parents and my parents supporting me. Because I think a lot of people have this idea as well that in the Black community, there is a innate homophobia or transphobia or biphobia or any type of phobia towards the queer community. And that's not always the case. In certain environments, in some families, yes, but not in all families. We don't all get disowned. We don't all deal with hatred. Some of us have great relationships where our families completely accept us and they've realized and they've known who we were before we ever did. And they were just waiting for us to say, hey, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, I trust you enough for you to hold my truth. A lot of people don't have that experience. I'm blessed that I do have that experience, and that
I'm blessed too. I had that. My parents are dead now, but I had that. They were heavy Christians.
Exactly.
They loved me, and
Exactly.
they did not give me any trouble being who I am.
Exactly.
Now, how did you approach your father when you wanted to do the Gillette ad? How did you approach him?
Funny enough, they said, is there anybody that you could get to teach you how to shave? We want to show you learning how to shave on screen. And I said, sure. I asked my dad. My dad is not a big media person at all, does not like cameras whatsoever. And he said, "Oh, Samson, I don't know, give me a little bit to think about it. I can't say yes and I can't say no right away." And I said, "Okay." I asked a couple of other friends of mine, some other cis men that are friends of mine, and unfortunately, they weren't able to be present. And I came back to my dad and I said, "It's crunch time. You kind of need an answer. There's nobody else. Are you able to?" And he said, "Okay, I love you. I accept you. I support you. I'm not a big fan of cameras, but I'll do the ad with you." And so he did. And that was my first time shaving completely on my own. It was my first time with my dad ever teaching me how to shave. I didn't have that. And I realized when the ad came out, there were actually a lot of men, not just trans men, even a lot of cis men who messaged me and said, "I never had a dad to teach me. I had to learn on my own. I tried practicing, so."
I saw your ad. I saw it.
Oh,
I
nice.
remember it. I wasn't sure. I kind of got the message, but I wasn't
Yeah.
sure because you look male.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's your life. But
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. I saw the ad and I would have never have guessed anything differently. I knew there was something special about the delivery, what they were the message they were trying to send.
Mm-hmm.
So did you get your father to end up doing the ad?
Yeah, he did
Oh,
the ad. That was him in the ad. He's the one teaching me saying north, north, south, south, east, west, never in a hurry.
mm-hmm.
Um, so that was my father. And I think interestingly enough, it added another layer to my relationship with my dad. My dad was always supportive of my transition.
Mm-hmm.
But I think having him in that way to assist me just added another level of closeness. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful that that was able to happen because it helped a lot of people, which I didn't actually think that the ad was going to go as far as it did. I honestly did not, but it went pretty far. Um, and a lot of people resonated with it, which is a beautiful thing.
That is beautiful. It's great to see when we are embraced for
Mhm.
just who we are and the color of our skin. This is an amazing thing.
Yeah,
And if people really learn or try to get to know us, we are fabulous people and wonderful people.
yeah,
And we should have, I would say, better opportunities, better things in life for us if people would just get to know us.
exactly,
We don't
exactly.
all do harm in the world. We work, pay taxes, and do the same things that they do.
Hmm.
But they don't want to take the time to understand us.
Yeah,
And, that's a sad thing.
it
But
is.
we're making some strides.
Yes,
Some. They
and
might be small.
mhm.
Go
I think
ahead.
the other thing too is that a lot of people are walking through this world hurt. That's a reality, right? And unfortunately, hurt people oftentimes hurt other people.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us, we come from a place of trying to protect ourselves from that hurt. So we
Mm-hmm.
walk through the world with our defenses up, with our guards up, not really letting people get close to us, not giving people a chance to actually get to know us. And I
Mm-hmm.
think when we operate from a place of love and reach out to the world from a place of love, granted, sometimes it's not always returned, but
Mm-hmm.
more often than not, it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with Black people in my family. I was raised with white family people in my family, Asian people in my family, Southeast Asian. I was raised with all these people around me as extended family, assisting my mother and my parents in my growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody had that background, and granted, that's a reality. Some people did not have that level of diversity around them growing up, so they don't always know how to approach diversity as they get older. But I think people who are open to learning about diversity, it becomes a lot easier for them to foster those kinds of relationships as they move through the world later on, right? So I'm open to anything, everybody. I love people in general.
Mm-hmm.
My focus is geared towards Black people first because that is the community that I'm a part of, but I'm open to everybody because I want people to learn, right? I want people to learn about the trans experience. I want people to learn about the queer experience. I want people to walk through the world with more love in their heart. And if I happen to be able to help a person do that, then I've done everything I was supposed to do.
You know, Samson, I want to say, you know, I'm glad I got to meet you. When I put it out there that I was looking for certain people for the show, and people kept saying this person, this person, this person, and I went through the names, and your name just stood out to me. And I want to say what was the most touching of our conversation today for me, and a real clear understanding, was the fact that you had a relationship with your father who actually put his own values aside for his children, something the world don't think Black men do.
Exactly.
And thank you for letting us know that your father embraces you for who you are. And no matter what people say, he stood strong by you. And that's something that I can say my father did for me and your father did for you. And we're blessed.
Yes,
And
we are.
hopefully others will be blessed from watching the show today because you had a real insight on what is actually going on in our communities. I didn't go into details about a lot of the other things I want to talk about because we'll be on here for 7 hours. We want to give people just a little taste of what, I'm just going to say Samson Brown, but can you say your name again for us?
Samson Bantu Brown.
Thank you. How can we find your commercial?
It's on YouTube. You can find the Gillette ad on YouTube. If you even type in Gillette Trans Man, it'll pop up. A lot of people have found it like that. So that's the main way to finding the ad. Yeah.
Okay. Do you mind if I share it on my page?
For sure. Go right ahead. Please do. Please do.
Thank you, Samson, so much for a wonderful conversation today. You were a blessing and you've enlightened me with a lot of things. So thank you for coming on my show today. We will send you a copy of the video afterwards from Perry, and then you can share it with your friends and share it with the world. And just thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm really grateful.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.